3 years, $121.5 million, as was initially guaranteed. The full guarantee up front, $24.9 million for 2022, and $40 million guaranteed for injury, I think 3 days after the Super Bowl. That becomes a guarantee as well. And a no-trade clause. So we've been talking about Derek's contract for a long time. We've got one. What do we think?
Well, they've made 3 huge investments this offseason, right? And he got the least amount of money. You could include 4 if you include Chandler Jones. They extended Max Crosby, who got $53 million. They traded for Davante Adams, who got, I think, 67.5. Was that maybe the number? I don't think, because then Tyreek got a little more a couple days later, right? Davante got traded before Tyreek, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So 70. So those 2 got more. Chandler Jones, technically, I think, was $32 million. Because remember, we were talking like, shouldn't the Niners get rid of Jimmy to do that? No, I get it. A little older. And Josh and Ziegler knew Chandler Jones, but $32 million. Right? That's, for a guy over 30, that's a sizable investment. Derek's true guarantees. Now, I would say, unlike all 3 of those players, quarterbacks, and we've talked about this for a long time, they always have the most power because they're the most important position. So their guarantees are always outrageous. But regardless of the guarantees, like Kirk Cousins, whether you talk about his guarantees or not, Kirk Cousins has seen every single penny since he started to be franchised, right, in Washington, till this given day. Every contract he signed, every penny has come his way, guaranteed or not guaranteed. But Derek, unlike the other guys who rightfully so were aggressive, tried to get the most money humanly possible, Derek was open about, I don't care. I want to stay here. And it's been well written about, it's not a team-friendly deal. It's just if Deshaun Watson's an outlier, which I think it is, you could argue Derek Carr for a top 12 quarterback is also an outlier. Neither one of those 2 are happening anytime soon. Dak Prescott, for example, who you'd put in the Derek kind of realm, right? Same with Cousins, would have laughed at something like this. Now, I get he's already made one difference, I guess, is from him and Dak. This is his 3rd contract. Derek's already made over $100 million. He said on that.
And he was a 2nd-round pick. Dak was a
fourth.
But
still, Derek had made $4 million or whatever. Remember, Dak started doing the Campbell commercials by his year 2. But ultimately, Derek was really rich. And he said on the Little Kid podcast, which I think might be his nephew in Bakersfield, that I've already made more money than any human could dream of. Derek acknowledges he was rich, but he basically told the Raiders you can bend us over and we'll take it. And they, now I do believe he's going to see every penny. It's always why I think we're critical of other contracts, non-quarterback, because I think it's pretty clear that these quarterbacks, Dak Prescott guy, a year ago on a franchise tag, had his leg or his ankle pointed the other way. Remember that against the Giants?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, oh, this is why the bag and the sue the league. And he got $140 million. It's they're quarterbacks. But Derek, did he do the Raiders a favor? I don't know how quite you would articulate it, but it is. We're just not going to see anything like this again.
Yeah, sometimes it's a perfect match. It's a team that wouldn't pay him what the biggest quarterback contracts look like. And it's a player that isn't looking for it. It's a player that's happy where he is. He has a different motivation than the Raiders might have, but it gets them to the same end, right? His motivation is stay a Raider, and I've already made a lot of money, and I want Davante Adams here, and I want Chandler Jones here, and I want better players around me the next couple of years, and I want to win.
But those guys were already on the team and paid for when he did the deal.
I understand, but part of them being there probably was some understanding that this is what the deal would look like. I would imagine the Raiders, they have a quarterback who has said repeatedly, I'd rather retire than go play somewhere else. So if you believe him,
he literally said, I told my agent I'll play golf if I don't play for the Raiders.
Yeah. So
the Raiders retweeted that, I think.
Now, if you believe him, which he said it multiple times for years, but if you're the Raiders and you believe him, then he is giving you all the leverage. I will not go play anywhere else. That's what he's saying. I'm not going to shop your deal around. It's like telling the guy at the car dealership, the only car I want is this car. I don't like any other cars. He's gonna be like, oh, okay, well, I'm not giving you any discounts.
When you say no one in sports really talks like that,
nobody talks like that. And I saw somebody, a contract guy, say on Twitter, Derek, it's not your job to manage the cap for the Raiders. But I think if you're Derek, and I get this and I respect this, like, you know what? Yeah, this is what a salary cap does. It artificially suppresses my contract. But at the end of the day, I'm not into winning the deal with the Raiders or like matching up with Aaron Rodgers' contract. I'm happy where I am. I have more money than I'll ever need, and my kids will ever need, and their kids will ever need. And I just want to win with Davante and the Raiders. And so let's just get this done. Now, it just so happens that, I think some people view this as a deal that the Raiders could get out of. Not some people view it's a deal the Raiders could get out of if they want to.
No, that's a fact.
Yeah, that's what I say. Not some people view. That's a fact, right?
So he's basically on the team, right, for locked in the next 2 years. But after that, anything's on the table. Like they can get out for zero.
I mean, look, forget about forget about the cat. Forget about what's guaranteed and what isn't. Let's just talk about if he plays the next 3 years after this year on this contract. His cash in 2023 will be $33 million. That's low for a top half quarterback, right?
Say that again.
His cash in 2023,
so this next year's season,
is $33 million. Okay,
which would be low now, and next year it's only going to be even lower.
Be lower, right? His cash in 2024 is $42 million,
which is not nothing,
and his cash in 2025 is $41 million.
Which, I mean, those are two good numbers, right?
So he's going, okay. You're telling me I'm going to get $33 million this 1 year after I made 24. Then I'm going to get a $9 million raise after that in the third year. And then I'm just going to make the same amount of money.
Inflation, guy.
It beats inflation. So, like, I do get it from his perspective of like, we haven't won. I just want to win. I'm going to go somewhere else, play for a worse coach, for a worse team with worse talent because I want to make more money. I don't for a second begrudge a guy that makes that decision either. But I'll say this for Derek, like I predicted he would take a quote unquote team friendly deal. And I think you agreed. And here he is. That's what happened. He has put his money where his mouth is. He has done that.
Well, the one thing that he protected himself with, because he took a deal that I think no other quarterback's agents would have allowed. And ultimately, obviously, the agent works for the player, and Derek's telling him, like, I don't give a shit, right? Which is, it never happens in the sport. It just doesn't. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. It's like, Kirk Cousins got what? Because it's just, that's the going right. Like, he's got him by the balls. And it's Kirk Cousins, who, him and Derek, I would say, kind of in the same little world of players. And Cousins, just in terms of true money, like, he's kind of won all of his deals. But Derek's no trade clause does allow, okay, I'm giving you an incredible deal. Like, you can't get rid of me at all. So he's untradeable now because he would come out and say, I'll quit. Right.
Yeah. He would not give them a preferred list of teams is what he has said. Right.
Yeah. So now it's just him and Josh and Davante and Chandler Jones and Max Crosby and Renfro. Like, we had to see what they got. Like, their team. I mean, I'm pretty interested in watching them play. I mean, I would imagine they're going to. Don't you think when the schedule comes out, it's usually a couple weeks after the draft, like they're going to get some primetime games?
Absolutely. I mean, Josh being their coach is a big part of it too.